Mark and Beth, just because your brother wanted you to have these benefits does not mean that you can automatically enroll into the permanent benefits. Like I said, you do need to qualify. They are police and firefighter benefits, so I'm going to ask you a few questions just to see if there's anything we can do at all for you. Do you take any prescription medications? Have you ever had any health issues in your lifetime? Do you use tobacco or marijuana in any form? Any arrests, including DUIs? Okay, based on your answers, I'm not sure if you can qualify just yet, but it looks like you do have a chance. So I'm just going to have to ask you, I'm going to show you the program they designed for you just so you understand everything, okay? Have you heard of the Labor Advisory Board? Okay, the Labor Advisory Board, they're made up of 54 international labor and association leaders. And what they do is they make recommendations as to where you have gaps in your coverage and where American Income can fill those gaps in for you. American Income works with over 44,000 groups and has over 8.5 million members. So clearly they're doing something right, wouldn't you say? Exactly. So they're going to have us ask you a few more questions just to see where they can fill those gaps in for you, okay? Okay. Asking those questions. Okay. Have you heard of the hour power before? Okay, hour power is an old union philosophy. Mark, how many hours are you working in a week right now? Okay, so that's about how many hours most union members are working as well. So what hour power says is you should be setting aside the first 1 to 2 hours for your full permanent benefits for yourself and your family's future. That way, if you get laid off or the time eventually does come and you do pass away, they will be okay and taken care of. And we all try to budget our money well, but let's face it, we spend money on things that we don't need or things that are not even important. So with that being said, Mark, what do you make an hour? Beth, what do you make an hour? So your hour power combined is $45. Most members earn between $10 to $100. That's husband and wife combined. Some set aside between $20 to $80 a week. Provided that you qualify, you can do more than that or you can do less than that. As long as you're setting aside at least 1 to 2 hours, your family will be okay and taken care of. Okay? So now this is the most important part. I'm going to go ahead and show you the program that they designed for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, because this is not something that we will be going over later or over the phone. There will be paperwork to fill out, okay? Okay, so the first area they're concerned about are your injuries on or off the job. At work, you have L&I or long-term disability, but that only covers 60 to 80% of your wages. That's not enough to cover your co-pays, deductibles, loss of wages, and such. And so that's why they said if you're accidental hospital benefits. Mark, when you, Beth, or any of the kids are involved in any kind of accident, they're going to send you $100 just for taking the time out of your day to go ahead and get that injury taken care of. That's whether you burn yourself, twist your knee, sprain ankle, need stitches on or off the job, and that money comes directly to you to cover any loss of wages or out-of-pocket expenses, okay? And so when it's more serious and you end up in the hospital, they're going to send you $200 a night for up to 1 full year. And that's because at that point, Mark, if you're in the hospital, Beth isn't going to be working, right? Because she's going to be by your side taking care of you, so she's not going to be working. Is this $200 going to help take care of your family? Absolutely. And so when it's more serious and you have to end up in the ICU or the intensive care unit, they're going to send you $400 a day for 2 full weeks. The reason why it's only 2 full weeks is because at that point they're either going to pull the plug or put you back down in the hospital overnight for $200 a day for up to 1 full year. So wouldn't it be nice to know this is taken care of for you and your family? Yeah. And so the next area they're concerned about are your funeral and final expenses. Have you ever had to plan a funeral? Okay, so they're not concerned of the fact of if you pass away. It's more of the fact of when you pass away, because all of us will. So Mark, if you pass away and Beth has to go down to the funeral home, that's a major problem. Because she's going to go down to the funeral home, talk to the funeral director, and he's going to say, I'm sorry for your loss, but how are you going to pay for that? And funeral homes require all or a bulk of the money on the spot, or at least need to know where that money is coming from. So while Beth is waiting for life insurance money, investment savings to come in, who has to come up with the money in the meantime? Beth does. Exactly. And that's not even covering all of the other final expenses. The funeral today is about $14,000 and it's expected to be about $30,000 within the next 20 years. And final expenses aren't something that we can avoid, right? Yeah, exactly. And so there's a few ways that you can take care of this. One, you can pay a funeral home in $200 to $300 increments, but nobody does that anymore because if you move, they go out of business, then you're all out of that money. Or you could leave that bill for your family, and that's not really fair to them, right? Or what all union members have if they qualify is called the freedom of choice. And the reason why it's called the freedom of choice is because, Mark, if you pass away, all Beth has to do is take this down to the funeral home and talk to the funeral director and say, my husband has the freedom of choice. And from that point forward, everything is taken care of on the spot. Anything left over is going to go back to the family as a living benefit, cash in hand. Does that make sense? Okay, so what they've allocated for you, Mark is $15,000 and Beth, you $15,000 as well. So what you're going to do on the back right here is allocate how much of that $15,000 you want to use just for the funeral, because funeral homes are just like any other business and they're going to use 100% of that money that you give them, right? And so you're going to only want to put how much you want to use for that funeral on there. Anything left over is going to be deposited back into the family's bank account within 72 hours. American Income is an A+ rated insurance company simply because they pay out within 72 hours, unlike other companies that take about 6 weeks to 6 months. And isn't it nice to know this is going to get taken care of for you? Exactly. So the most common type of death in our working years is an accidental death. In that case, they're going to send you $70,000 on top of your freedom of choice and monthly income. And then, so what do you think is the most common type of accidental death? An auto accident, exactly. So in that case, they're going to be sending you $90,000 on top of your freedom of choice and final expense, And so, are you familiar with a common carrier? Anything like bus, plane, train, taxi, anything you pay fare for, they're going to send you $150,000. Because if you're overseas on a cruise ship, in Hawaii or Puerto Rico, they're still going to want your body transported back, right? And that's going to be expensive. So that's why it's $150,000. All right. And so now, Mark, let's say you're on your way home from work and you get in a bad car accident or you have a heart attack or stroke. What's going to happen to your paycheck? Exactly. It goes away. And so Beth can't exactly go back into your work and demand a $20 raise, right? That's just not going to happen. So that's why they set up your paycheck protection. So the month after something happens to you and every month thereafter, for up to 1 full year, they're going to send you $3,400 a month, just so that you can still keep a normal lifestyle, keep food on the table, and make the major lifestyle adjustments you need to. And so it's vice versa as well for you. And so Mark and Beth, you said you do have cancer running in your family. So for women, typically it's 1 in 3, either breast or cervical cancer. For men, it's 1 in 4, and typically prostate cancer. And your medical insurance is typically going to cover up to 80% of the bills, but the other 20% is still going to need to be taken care of, right? And so they'll give you $25,000 each of you to take care of those expenses. Wouldn't it be nice to know this is taken care of for you? Absolutely. Okay, and so now members don't only choose American Income because they are the best benefits in the state, but also because they have living benefits. Your $15,000 freedom of choice is going to grow at a 4.5 interest rate, and it's going to build an emergency fund so that if anything is tight financially, you can grab out of that and it'll take care of your contributions. Or you could also take a paid up final expense at the age of 70. It'll take care of your contributions for the rest of your life. Or there's also a terminal illness rider. Have you ever thought what you would do in the event that somebody told you have 2 years or less to live? Exactly. So here in the state of Washington, it's 2 years or less. And so what they're going to do for you is they're going to send half of your freedom of choice up front for your bucket list, medical bills, just to live the last few months as comfortably as possible. And the second half is going to come after they pass away. And since we do work with a lot of union members, they set up a strike and layoff waiver. If your union ever goes on strike, they're going to take care of your contributions for up to 1 full year. And if you're ever laid off, they're going to take care of it for up to 3 full months, because they realize that after 31 days, you're going to lose all your benefits except for the permanent ones you have with American Income. And the best part of the program is that the benefits are guaranteed. If you were to develop cancer tomorrow, they're not going to change. They're not going to ask you to increase your contributions or decrease your benefits. You're going to be locked in as of today with your age, health, and habits. So isn't it nice that it's going to be taken care of? Okay. So now, like I said, it's just my job to deliver the benefits and see if you can get enrolled into the permanent benefits. They have this set up like payroll deduction once a month through your own checking account. That way it's under your own independent control, not your employer's. And with that being said, most members decide go. So with that being said, most members decide to go with the first option I show them, and so it's for you. It's 2 hours a week, about roughly 124 a month. Some members decide to do more than that. Some decide to do less than that. Ultimately, it's up to you. So which option would make most sense to you? You want to think about it? Okay, not a problem. We are getting ahead of ourselves. I'm still not sure if you can qualify just yet. I do have to ask you a few more medical questions just to see if you can do anything at all. There is paperwork that we would have to fill out today. Okay. Okay, so congratulations, you qualified standard. Mark and Beth, our health is not guaranteed. Enrolling today, we'll make sure that your family is protected as of your conditions today. So with that being said, like I said, most members go with the first option I show you, but you said that didn't sound too hot, so let's see, which is 2 hours. Some members can do more than that, but we don't want your financial contributions to be any kind of financial hardship for you. Or you could get started with a more basic program and then increase your benefits later down the road. And this is an investment only for yourself and your family and no one else. So with that being said, which is going to sound best for you? Okay, still think about it? That's okay. So all I'm going to have you do is have you fill out this report form, which goes back to the company to let them know that I was here and I did my job. Okay? And so right here, they're going to ask you what was the best part of the program for you? Oh, freedom of choice? Awesome. Yeah. And so oftentimes when a member qualifies but they don't enroll, it's pretty rare. And so do you have any questions for me? Okay, so they do have a couple questions for you. So do you understand these benefits? Do you feel like you need these benefits? Do you feel like you can afford these benefits? Oh, great. I'm glad you told me that you can afford the benefits, because we don't want the contribution to be any kind of financial hardship, but we don't want the lack of the program to cause you a financial disaster. So what we can do, since you said your freedom of choice is your favorite part, is we can get you started with the most basic program, and then later down the road when you're more financially comfortable, you can upgrade your benefits. Sound good? Okay. So this is going to be your American Income Service folder. What you're going to do on the, I hit myself in the face. So what you're going to do on the inside is put the 3 reasons why you got this taken care of today. All right. And so do you feel good about this? Do you feel like this is financially comfortable for you? Do you have any questions for me? All right, awesome. Have a great day.